You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 18th day of May, 2026. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room. That one's reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. This broadcast, on the other hand, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link, so at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit of doing it that way, you immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you do want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 3,000 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, a lot more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it is a great way to get to know who we really are, because you can see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. At the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, Michael will join us for a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning, and then do a little live trading as time and the markets permit. Right now, we'll start where we always do with our afternoon broadcast, our daily devotional. The topic we're on right now, and we're getting pretty close to the end of it. Everyday faith. Today's scripture is Mark 4, verse 41. I'm going to share it with you from the NIV translation. They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." Again, that was Mark 4, verse 41. The disciples had already seen much by this point. They had listened to Jesus teach with authority. They had watched him heal the sick and drive out demons. They had chosen to leave their familiar lives and follow him. They stepped out of their comfort zone. Yet there are moments in the Gospels when even those closest to him are forced to reconsider who he really is. The storm on the Sea of Galilee was one of those moments. Several of the disciples were seasoned fishermen. They were not easily shaken by bad weather. When they woke Jesus in panic, it was because the situation was serious. The boat was filling with water. The wind was violent. Control had slipped from their hands. Jesus stood and spoke a word. The wind stopped. The sea became still. Mark tells us that after the calm came, they were filled with great fear. That detail matters. Their fear did not disappear with the storm. It shifted. The storm had frightened them. Now they were confronted by something greater. Who then is this that even the wind and sea obey him? They still didn't get it. This was not casual curiosity. It was the realization that they were dealing with more than a teacher, more than a healer, more than a compelling voice. Nature itself responded to him. The wind obeyed, the waves obeyed. In that quiet, something settled in the boat that was heavier than the storm. Authority. It is possible to follow Jesus and still underestimate him. We may appreciate his comfort, value his wisdom, and even rely on his help. But moments come when he reveals that he is not simply present to assist us. He stands over all of creation. He commands what we cannot control. A storm exposes more than fear. It exposes who we believe holds power. When a storm occurs in your life, and I'm not talking about a boat on the Sea of Galilee, you know the kind of storm I'm talking about. Who's the first person you turn to? Your spouse? Your banker? Your accountant? Your attorney? You get the picture? Comfortable religion prefers a smaller Christ, a Christ who fits into our plans, a Christ who supports without ruling. But the one who speaks to wind and sea does not occupy a manageable category. If creation responds to him, then so should we. The question that rose in the boat has never faded. It continues to press into every generation. Who then is this? Where have you confirmed or confined Jesus to what feels manageable? Maybe it's time for all of us to step out of the boat. See what happens. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, enlarge our understanding of who you really are. Let us see you as you truly are, not who you or who we want you to be. It's going to take us out of our comfort zone, Lord, but we trust that by the power of the Holy Spirit that you will be there to catch us, to hold us, to guide us, to direct us. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen, and happy Monday. Well, that's an oxymoron. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow's up 6 points. The Nasdaq's down 177. S&P 500's down 21. The Russell 2000 is down 16. In the commodity basket, crude oil up again $1.53, trading 106.94 last. That's a gain of 1.5%. Keep in mind that as far as the futures go, we have rolled crude forward to the N contract. That's N as in Nancy. Gold down $16.80, trading 45.45 last. Silver down 56 cents, trading 77.02 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei dropped 593 points, basically 1%. Shanghai fell 4 points. The Hang Seng dropped 287, well over 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 128, 1.25%. The DAX up 357, 1.5%. And the CAC up 34. So we had a red day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And at the moment, it's a mixed Radio Monday here in the US of A. The Dow is the only one in the green and only by 7.5 points. The rest in the red. Not deeply, but in the red nonetheless. Let's take a look at the news. The MV Hondias cruise ship associated with the recent hantavirus outbreak arrives in the Netherlands today for its final stop. The remaining crew and medical staff will disembark for quarantine, and the entire ship will be disinfected. The ship departed Argentina April 1st, carrying 147 people from 23 countries to some of the world's most remote islands. On April 11th, Dutch birdwatcher Leo Schippelraad died of what was later determined to be hantavirus. I guess he's patient 0, followed by his wife roughly 2 weeks later. Today there are at least 10 cases associated with the outbreak, 8 confirmed and 2 suspected. Now, we had a hantavirus outbreak here in Phoenix a lot of years ago, 25, 30 years ago, I think it was. Did the world end? No. Did the entire world get infected? No. And modern science has made a lot of advances since then. I think some on one side of the political aisle was hoping this would turn into another coronavirus so they could control everything we do. But maybe this time the good guys win. Hantavirus is not believed to pose a widespread threat to public health. I'm surprised they said that. Cruise ships may be especially conducive to the spread of illness due to the gathering of travelers from diverse regions, close eating and sleeping quarters, and potential exposure to local diseases. As you remember, when the coronavirus outbreak happened, those people were stranded on that cruise ship for, I forget how long. I just know it was a long time. Last week, we talked about the Eurovision contest. Well, we have a winner. Bulgarian singer Dara won the 70th Eurovision contest with pop song Bangaranga. The win marks the first ever for the Balkan nation, which first joined the contest in 2005. On YouTube, you can see the performance. The contest is among the most watched live broadcast events in the entire world, reaching 166 million viewers last year. This year, 5 broadcasters from Iceland, Ireland, the Netherlands, Slovenia, and Spain boycotted the event over Israel's participation amid the war in Gaza. A report also found Israel's government had invested in ad dollars in recent years to promote Israeli musical acts. Like there's something wrong with that. This year, Israeli participants came in second place for his Ballad Michelle, which you can also see on YouTube. Eurovision began in 1956 as a post-World War II effort to unite Europe through live broadcasting with just 7 countries and 14 songs. Today it features countries across Europe and some outside the continent, including Australia and Israel, whose broadcasters are part of the European Broadcasting Union. Researchers leafing through a 9th century manuscript have discovered a copy of the earliest surviving English poem according to a recently published study. Known as Caedmon's Hymn, the short verse is considered to be a foundational text in English literature. Purportedly composed by an illiterate cowherd after experiencing a religious vision, the 9-line verse references heaven and praises God for creation. And I dug it up for you. Now let us praise heaven, kingdom's guardian, the maker's might and his mind's thoughts, the work of the glory Father, of every wonder, eternal Lord. He established a beginning. He first shaped for men's sons heaven as a roof, the holy creator. Then Middle Earth, mankind's guardian, eternal Lord, afterwards prepared the earth for men, the Lord Almighty. I guess we now have proof that poems don't have to rhyme. Now again, this ancient poem from the 9th century was written by an illiterate cowherd. If he was illiterate, I don't know how he wrote it, but he did. According to this study, the poem is known for its inclusion in some versions of the medieval ecclesiastical history of the English people, written by the monk Bede the Venerable, which was reproduced about 200 times. While 2 older copies of the poem have surfaced, they were both written in Latin. The recent discovery was written in Old English and embedded in the main Latin text, suggesting English poetry was valued by Latin readers much earlier than previously thought. It marks the second major discovery involving an ancient poetic text in recent weeks, after archaeologists found part of Homer's Iliad buried with a Roman-era Egyptian mummy. Turning to Wall Street. U.S. stocks flip-flopped today as worries about war-stoked inflation buffeted investors as they kicked off a week dominated by NVIDIA earnings. Leading corporate news today is the announcement of a tie-up between NextEra Energy, NEE, and Dominion Energy, just D, in a $66.8 billion all-stock transaction. If the deal goes through, it will create the largest energy utility in the country. In the bond market, the 10-year Treasury yield briefly climbed above 4.6% at one point early today before pulling back to below the key milestone. Long-dated U.S. yields also backed off from highs as the global bond rout lost steam. At the same time, a rally in oil prices helped stoke the inflation jitters behind the bond sell-off and the pullback in U.S. stocks from record highs. Brent crude futures topped $110 a barrel as the U.S. and Iran remained far, far, far from a peace deal, all underscored by a drone attack on a UAE nuclear power plant. Now, there's fighting and there's fighting dirty. And if Trump doesn't do something to put a stop to this, we're going to wake up to a world we don't recognize, or we're just not going to wake up. But the marquee quarterly report comes from NVIDIA, which will put a key driver of the U.S. stock market, the artificial intelligence boom, under the microscope when the chip makers' results land on Wednesday. News that President Trump offered to waive sanctions on Iranian oil sales, fulfilling one of Tehran's key demands in an attempt to get the regime back to the negotiating table, led oil headlines on Monday. The offer was reported by the Iranian state-owned Tasman News Agency, which said such an arrangement would remain in place until a peace agreement is reached. The White House has not confirmed the offer. Tensions rose in the Gulf region over the weekend after Trump said the clock is ticking for Iran. They better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them. Time is of the essence. Trump wrote this yesterday afternoon on Truth Social. The president told Axios that we want to make a deal, that he's waiting for a new proposal from Iranian leaders. I think the problem is that there's really nobody in charge there. Axios reported Monday that the White House had received an updated proposal, but that the administration considered it inefficient. And that drone strike yesterday sparked a fire at a nuclear plant in the United Arab Emirates. Though it was unclear who had launched the attack. Well, really? Around the same time, Saudi Arabia said it intercepted 3 drones that had crossed into its airspace from Iraq, which hosts several Iran-linked militia groups. Iraq should be really careful getting involved in this. Now, I know I've talked to death SpaceX and the upcoming IPO. I said I wasn't even going to bring it up again because I've talked about it so many times. But there's new news. SpaceX is barreling towards its initial public offering, and it's trying to make its stock even more attractive with a stock split before it even debuts. Bloomberg reported over the weekend that SpaceX told its investors it will implement a 5-for-1 stock split, a move that would potentially reduce the price of the stock ahead of its IPO. How is that affecting the price of the ETFs and other ways of investing pre-IPO in SpaceX that I've talked about? Honestly, don't know. SpaceX informed shareholders that the current fair market value per share has been adjusted to about $105.32, down from $526.59 as a result of the 5-to-1 stock split. I don't think Google has ever had a stock split. I could be wrong. From Bloomberg, U.S. homebuilder sentiment rebounded in May but remained low overall as affordability concerns continued to weigh on the outlook during the spring selling season, which is usually the big time for real estate. An index of market conditions from the National Association of Home Builders and Wells Fargo increased 3 points to 37, according to data published today. A value below 50 means more builders see conditions as poor rather than good. And Kevin Warsh, who is now officially our new Fed governor, Friday was Jerome's last day in the office. That should have been enough to send the markets to the moon, but it didn't. Because the consensus among the other Fed presidents is they want to raise rates. I mean, didn't Jerome prove that you don't heal a fractured economy by raising interest rates? Apparently not. President Trump has moved to drop his $10 billion lawsuit against the Internal Revenue Service over the 2019 leak of his tax information. The first move in a deal being discussed by administration officials that could include benefits for him and his allies. The filing in Miami Monday morning contained few details other than the request to drop the suit by Trump's lawyer. U.S. officials have discussed creating a $1.7 billion federal fund to pay victims of so-called government weaponization to resolve the lawsuit. The arrangement could also include dropping audits of Trump, his companies, and family members, according to the report. Under this agreement, Trump won't receive any money directly. Instead, claims could be made by parties that allege they were victimized by what deemed a weaponization of government under President Joe Biden. Those allies could include about 1,500 individuals who were prosecuted for storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, to try to prevent Biden's election from being certified. I'm not even going to honor Hakeem Jeffries' comments. What a clown show that guy is. U.S. consumer has generally withstood $5 per gallon of gas and accelerating inflation driven by the Iran conflict. And it's mostly thanks to a unique set of tailwinds that are likely to remain in place for now. JP Morgan analyst Matt Boss said in a new note today that consumer spending has been consistent despite the headwinds of inflation. We note overall net wealth creation, not included in our proprietary wallet analysis, has represented in aggregate a $68 trillion tailwind versus 2019 for the consumer, including $20 trillion of real estate gains, $35 trillion of stock market gains, and $13 trillion of other wealth, with the top 20% of consumers realizing $40 trillion of net worth creation, or roughly 2/3 of the total increase. A stunning artificial intelligence-driven rally in stocks from the March 30 low has made finding great investment opportunities that much harder. The biggest challenge facing stocks right now: AI enthusiasm has been driving the 2026 market rally, making it difficult for investors to find value in sectors outside of the theme. Recent conversations with portfolio managers have focused on the challenge of finding investment opportunities in today's equity market that are not tethered to a view on AI. That's according to Goldman Sachs. Within the market, few sectors have avoided being caught up in the one big trade of AI momentum. A couple of those sectors that have detached from AI momentum include energy, healthcare, real estate, and consumer staples. I don't know how energy decoupled, because those data centers use so much. And I could just leave it there. But I won't. Former Vice President Kamala Harris recently dropped several not too subtle hints that she wants to run for president in 2028. You'd think the shellacking she got last time out would have taught her a lesson, but, well, she isn't really a high IQ person. Polls, at least for now, show the leading likely Democrat candidate is California Governor Gavin Newsom. Many Democrat pundits and insiders say Harris' failed run against Trump renders her damaged goods and therefore insufficiently attractive to the donor class. I mean, she blew up $1 billion in donations in her failed campaign bid, which she never earned anyway. It was just given to her. The Los Angeles Times recently wrote, as Kamala eyes a possible 2028 presidential bid, there's little outward enthusiasm among her biggest 2024 backers to fund a repeat performance. The Times reached out to more than 24 top donors in the biggest pro-Harris super PAC in 2024. Several of them said they do not plan to support her should she choose to run, or they declined to even talk about her, and others just simply didn't respond. For Harris, this sounds ominous. There's a flaw in the reasoning, and it represents a huge threat to Newsom's plans. as well as those of any other names floated as possible candidates. But not Steve Hilton. Not Stevie. Put my money on Steve Hilton. All right, last news. California's two-term treasurer, Fiona May, has met with high-level Chinese Communist Party officials and intelligence personnel dozens of times in the last several decades. Now, this was discovered by the Daily Caller News Foundation. During these many meetings in the U.S. and China, the Democratic frontrunner in California's 2026 lieutenant governor race has introduced American lawmakers to Chinese intelligence officials and also repeatedly presented awards to CCP members and influence operatives. During these many meetings in the U.S. and China, the Democratic frontrunner the CCP elite is alive and well. That's from New York Times bestselling author of Red Handed. Yeah, she was caught red-handed. May's ties to China recently came under scrutiny following an April Politico report, revealing that in September of 23, she offered to help secure U.S. internships and employment opportunities for students attending the Pegasus California School, which was founded in the coastal city of Qingdao by May's Campaign Finance Committee chair. Pegasus students, who are Chinese nationals, have allegedly received unlawful California high school diplomas through a partnership with the Valverde Unified School District. Yeah, she got caught red-handed. Now, what are we going to do about it? Obviously, we should do something about it. We'll see. All right, bringing it home. Logic 247. Last week was week 406. Over the last 406 weeks, we've issued over 22,300 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based simply on market structure, a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. As those of you who follow the logic alerts know, there were none last night. The server over at StoneX, which feeds my DT Pro charts, was not working properly. The Sierra DOM was working okay, but the charting platform that I've used since 2008 it just didn't come on at the open like it normally does. It finally came on many hours later, so I spent much of the evening doing what I suppose I should have done years ago, and that's getting myself familiar and acquainted with the TradingView platform. That is the platform of the future, and they're not planning to sunset DT Pro just yet. It's coming, but not quite yet. Somebody somewhere just forgot to flip a switch or pull a lever before they left the office on Friday. But apparently, maybe Bert got a hold of them for me. They finally came on last night, but it was too late for me to do anything. I was just too exhausted. Anyway, last week we pushed out 75 alerts, 16 of it triggered. That gave us 59 actionable alerts, of which 4 or 7% would have been stopped out. Again, based simply on market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. The purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Of course, you can trade them. I mean, with numbers like that, who wouldn't want to? But a lot of the alerts will trigger in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. So what are you going to do? My suggestion is, if you never actually trade a Logic 247 alert, as long as they're still coming out, use them for the purpose intended, to learn to read the chart. So, last week was a good week. Now, 406 weeks is a long time. 7.5 years. Many years before we rolled out Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the Concierge Trade Alerts. They're different in a lot of different ways. Every Logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target, in most cases additional targets, and a final trade to target. The CTAs are just pure targets. They're different in a lot of different ways, but for the purpose of this discussion, I'll say that they typically come out 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open, like they did Friday, or Thursday night, which was for the Friday session. The Friday session began at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Monday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Tuesday session will begin tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, whereas normally our traders have these targets 5 minutes before the market opens, last night they came out at 10:20 p.m. Eastern. The S&P, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil. By the way, we're on the N contract in crude now. The NQ, gold, and silver. I will put out Logic alerts today at some point, as long as the DT Pro platform keeps chugging along. Let's go look at the daily chart of the S&P. We are just off the lows of the session. Now, because the DT Pro didn't kick in until 10:20 last night, or I'll show you when we go to the 30-minute chart. I don't know that what you're seeing here is actually the low of the session, but I can see that we're currently getting very close to it. The individual charts, you see, we had a gap lower open, but this first candle didn't print till 2300. The first candle typically prints at 1800 hours, like this one did. See up here? Look down at the bottom, you'll see 1800. Okay, that's when the market opens each evening, 6 p.m. Eastern. Now, and the CTAs didn't come out until, what time did I say? 10:20. So this was 11 o'clock when the DT Pro charts finally kicked in. Anyway, the CTA long target was based off this bearish cross from Friday. When the red line gets below the green line and leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. And it was. We hit it once, we hit it twice, we hit it 3 times. When the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. And normally I tell you, you're looking at last week's zones on a Monday. But since I didn't put out any Logic alerts last night, I did go ahead and update the zones. So these are this week's weekly trading zones that were published this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. The vertical line that you see separates today Monday, here's Friday, back here's Thursday. Horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. We've published the weekly zones every Monday for over 16 years, since December 14th of 2009. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. When price encounters a weekly zone, only one of three things happens. 70% of the times, consolidation. 20% of the times, rejection. 10% of the time is the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there, as happened right here. When it runs out of steam or runs into resistance, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through, just like it did here, and then continue in the direction of the slice, just like it did there. Now, where should you expect this market to stop dropping? Right here. Right there where red turned to blue. We'll call it 73.74. Should be the low of the session, but we'll see. If we take that out, if we take out 73.74, we could very well see the short target. On the Dow, support at the zone, sends the market looking for resistance, which should be over here somewhere, but when the black step line crosses red and falling, you typically get a retracement back to the BBC. When that doesn't happen, that means there is weakness. However, blue and climbing served as support, got us above the BBC, and now there's strength because we didn't get a retracement to the BBC until here. See how the black step line crossed blue and climbing, and price pulled right back to the BBC. And the pullback held. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. It just stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices, until price crosses back above the green line, and then we're bullish and expect higher prices. You'll notice that the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Like there, like there. Then once we crossed back to the other side, the pullback held. But with the black step line directly above price, that's potential resistance. So we've got a high, a lower high, a lower high, and a lower high. So I would say there's a good possibility that this pullback may ultimately not hold. So where should you look for support? That's not a straight line. And that's not where I wanted it. There we go. What I'm highlighting here is the bullish cross. When the blue line gets above the green line, that's a bullish cross. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area should be good support. Just like up here, where we had the bearish cross, once price gets back to that area, whether it takes a day or a year, should be good resistance. And this should be good support. Does that happen every time? I'm going to go 8 out of 10. So I can't show you where we opened last night because my charts weren't doing their thing. I can show you where yeah, Paul. Amen to that, brother. I can show you. Dairy. This is where the ES actually opened last night. As you can see, I spent a lot of time working on TradingView, trying to make them look as much as possible like DT Pro, because that is the future. I know there's several with me that are hanging on to the old DT Pro or OpenECRI platform. When's it going to sunset? Probably sooner than later. Changing platforms is like a major life event, at least for someone who's older, as I and many of you are. But as you can see, just like on the DT Pro chart, we hit the long target based off the bearish cross. And right here, where red turns to blue, that's where you should look for support. So I managed to do that. For all the charts. I don't know what happened to that one. Oh, there we go. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to do my best. I mean, everything's the same. The pullback to the BBC held, and the pullback to the BBC held. And then once we got above the BBC, the pullback held. So, we'll see. All right. So, this pullback could still hold. If it doesn't, you know where to expect support. You know, I've always heard that term, well, he finally got put out to pasture. Usually talking about a horse, but I know that that reference extends to humans, and I kind of feel like that's where I'm at right now. So, we'll see what my future holds. The high is this high right here from Friday. That's market structure. You're simply looking left to see where the market may potentially find resistance. Now the long target was based off this high right here, which we hit. Then we found resistance right here, right at that high. Resistance always sends the market looking for support. But again, I don't have a full picture of support. So I can't tell you if, well, I guess I can tell you. The heck? So it looks like the low was 27.73 on the Russell. And what's the low of this candle? So we've spiked the overnight low by one tick on this candle, but it's trying to recover. But unfortunately, we got red and falling overhead. It's about to cross the BBC, and that's going to generate downward pressure towards this zone at 27.58. There's only two zones below that, but they're big. We got wide zones this week. On the NQ, gap lower open, resistance at the zone. Resistance always sends the market looking for support. Found it right here, which is basically this area right here. Send us back up to the zone, back up to the zone. We finally broke through the zone. And we got to the area where blue turned to red. We spiked it by just a little bit. And anytime we take out a previous high by just a little bit, that's a sign of weakness. And, well, there you go. We already have the bearish cross on the NQ. So for the NQ to get turned around, it's got a lot of work to do. It's got to overcome red and falling. It's got to close above the BBC. It's got to take out this area here. It's got to get through the long target. It's got to take out this high and this high. Now, that could all happen overnight. Crude, we are on the N contract. Now, all the indices gapped lower, but crude and the metals gapped. No, the metals gapped lower too. But crude gapped higher. Found support at the zone. Pretty much to the tick. Now, we consolidated along the BBC for quite a while. And then this little runner right here almost got to this area. This one did. That's where you should expect resistance, and that is what we got. Now, probably going to get a retracement here back to the BBC, but as long as that pullback holds, then crude may still move higher. I know nobody wants to see crude move higher, but well, that's what it's been doing for days now. When I say the pullback holds more often than not, it really does. Whether you're pulling from above or below. Gold. We never made it to the long target. We now got red and falling right overhead. That acts as resistance. If we get through red and falling, then this area right here where blue turned to red, that's potential resistance. Then here, and then here. It's the high of the session, 45.8860. Silver, no, better than the open, or what I have is the open. Again, my charts don't start till 2300. Now let's go see what it looked like. Over here. We almost hit the short target, but we didn't. It's like the low was 74.11 and the short target was down at 73.74. Long target is based off of these highs right here from Friday. So we got potential resistance at red and falling. And if we get through it, then here, and then here. Now, I was just getting ready to create the daily chart of the ES on my TradingView platform, but I finally I was so exhausted, I just threw in the towel. Even drawing the horizontal lines, it was a nightmare. I know there's a simple way. I know there's an easy way. I just got to figure it out. I mean, let's face it, in 2008, when I was a much younger man, I had never used DT Pro before, but I caught on like really quick. I did have Bert's help. I did have Leslie's help. I know a lot of you don't remember Leslie, but some of you do. And oh, and this chart's got one too many lines. Got to get rid of this guy. There we go. Now it looks right. All right, Michael should be joining us here in just a second. He had internet issues this morning. He is traveling, but he's working from his hotel room. The internet in the whole hotel went down. He tried to call the front desk, and they told him there was a recording. Yeah, we know the internet's off. Go take a walk or something. It's kind of hard to do when you got a room full of people waiting on you to show up. I'll leave this so he can see I'm trying at least. Hopefully he can get logged in. Just stand by. I'm curious, how similar does the black step line look? Okay, that's silver right now on the 30-minute chart. And silver is flat with the BBC. But if I come over here, it's a whole different story. Oh, that's the ES. Okay, maybe we should compare apples to apples. What do you think? That makes sense? All right, so the black step line is directly below price on DT Pro. And the black step line is directly below price. I guess a lot of it is just getting accustomed to looking at something different, although I've tried to make it look as much the same as I possibly could. Maybe it'll just take some time. I don't know. I guess we'll all find out together. Me and Joel and Paul and all the other guys that are still holding on to the old platform. So, man, last night, while it felt like a calamity in the moment as it happened, maybe it was really the kick in the pants I needed to move into the 21st century. All right, Michael is having some issues logging in, so stand by, and I'm gonna here we go. All right, so he'll be here in just a second. I think part of it is when and I don't know why. I mean, they're the same candles, same time frames, same indicators, but I don't have the same level of confidence that I have on the DT Pro charts, and that's probably just because I'm so accustomed to using those. And the only way to get over that hump is to... Okay, he's in. Hang on a second, and I'm going to turn it over to him. Okay. Okay. And there you go, buddy.
All right. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine, man.
All right. All right.
You see what you're looking at?
I do see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the ES on the 30-minute chart right now.
Yeah, but on what platform?
Oh, TradingView. Look at you. Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, you can have at it, bro.
One of these days, they're really going to pull the plug on that, you know?
I know.
I know. Jake's name again.
I know.
All right.
All the other old timers
I'm
were
surprised.
messaging me last night, and I was messaging Bert, and he was trying to drive his 4 daughters back, and they finally flipped the switch or threw the lever or whatever at, I don't know, around 11 o'clock last night. So, but yeah, I mean, we're well aware that it's coming to an end, and so I gotta get it. I gotta get it in gear. I was able to get out the weekly trading zones. I was able to get out the CTAs, but by the time I got around to Logic 247, I was just so exhausted from trying to teach myself in one night what I've had years to learn. Shame on me. But anyway,
a year and a half.
Yeah. Anyway,
right.
your charts look good, so I'll pass the baton. You got it. It looks good.
I got it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, for what it's worth, the internet's still not working in this hotel. So I'm working off my hotspot still. So,
I warned you about those Motel 6s.
Hey, now this is actually a nice one.
I
Jada
know. That's what I told everybody this
with her
morning.
promotion, she actually got bumped up in her accommodations. You know, with her promotion. No, this is a nice one. We got a full size kitchen with full size refrigerator, dishwasher, stove, the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
I told everybody I knew
nice.
I knew you were in a nice hotel, and just sometimes internet, when it works, it's awesome. When it doesn't work, it's frustrating.
Well, and I still haven't gone down and really complained to him yet. So I guess I'll do that when we're done here. I'll go down.
All right, buddy.
See if they have a switch that they can flip. Anyway, here we go.
Maybe you can reboot the router for them.
Yeah, I'll find the switch. All right. Okay, here we go, guys. Today is Monday, the 18th day. It's my son's 22nd birthday. The 18th day of May, 2026. Now, if you haven't taken a free trial with us and you want to, go ahead to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button right here. Now, there is no credit card for the trial. It should bring you to this registration page. I think that's what I was just trying to get in on. Bring you to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Then down here at the very bottom, you got to give us your TradingView login ID. If you don't have that, you need to go get one, okay? If you want to have the charts, the indicators indicating on your desktop, you need to go get one of those TradingView login IDs. Yeah, that's that part of it. Okay, so we had a pretty good day today. All things considered, we've been a half an hour late, and we still had a better day than most of the days last week. And we had 5 stop outs today too. All right. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read the CFTC risk disclosures at the bottom. Today's the 18th day of May 2026. We made 21 ticks on the NQ, 12 ticks on the Russell, 20 ticks on the YM, and 50 ticks on the ES. Is that right? 50? Yeah, that is right. Okay, and that put us at $890 a contract. Today took 5 minutes and 1 trade. We did start at, I think, what was it, 9:58, I think. 9:57, 9:58, something like that. But it took 5 minutes and 1 trade this morning to get to $1,100 with 10 contracts on, or $110 with 1 contract. It was 22 ticks on the Russell is what it was. And we took a total of 28 trades. So even missing a half an hour this morning, there was still enough volatility to give us 28 trades. We did have 5 stop outs out of those 28 trades, so we're at 82% of our trades are break even better. Now we got 3 of those stop outs after like the first 8 trades, so we're down to the 60% read there for a little while. But we got it back. So on a month now we're at $6,292 over 11 trading days, averaging $572 for a contract by 2-hour trading day. On the year now we're at $85,345 over 81 trading days, averaging $1,053 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, if you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and 1 contract per month, so far this year, that's the 24/20 blueprint. Okay. If you were to do that, so far this year, you would, well, and you did everything exactly like I did. That means you had the same slippage and everything else. So far this year, you would have only had to work 12 hours, and you'd be up $33,145 total. Okay. So you'd be averaging $2,750 per hour, $2,750 per hour. All right. So now we can get into the actual trades. Now, hopefully, for all you guys, my charts look the same because I am working and I am on a different size monitor and all that. And I will be until Wednesday. Okay, until Wednesday. And tomorrow morning, I'll just, if the internet's not working first thing in the morning, I'll just start out with my hotspot. And it's become clear to me that if I'm working off my hotspot, I cannot get into the meetings. I have to come in I can't come in as an organizer into the meetings. I have to come in as an attendee. I don't know what the bottleneck is there, but there is one. Anyway, the Russell, our very first trade of the day. This first trade where we got the goal for the day. 22 ticks on that one. Okay, and then the next one right after that, we stopped out. So we went from 22 plus 22 to -3. We had a 25 tick stop out. They went from -3 up to 7, and then 7 to 12, and then 12 to something else. I didn't write that one down, whatever that is. I didn't add that in. Looking across here, it looks like there was not another trade. Not another trade during the break. Okay. So that is what the Russell looked like today. And the YM. Let's go back to the beginning of time here with the YM. All right. So our first spot here with the YM is right here. We almost didn't have any trades. It was 11:20 before we took our first trade. No, that's our second trade with the YM. Our first trade was a +5. I think it was right here. I think that was our first trade. We got a +5 on that. And still, that was 11 o'clock. We almost didn't have any trades on the YM. We got another 15 ticks right there to get us to 20. And that was it with the YM. During the break, it looks like one trade right there. Okay. Let's sneeze. Okay, the S was our moneymaker today. We had one big trade on the S, and it was probably as big as it was because I forgot I had it on. I probably would have moved my stop and gotten taken out a little soon. I mean, we did have a bunch of good trades on the S. The S traded really well today. We did manage to get one stop out in there. Hang on. Here we go. Our first trade on the S was right here. This was the big trade that I totally forgot I had on. I got 20 ticks profit on that trade. We got 5 points. 20 ticks profit. Then I had a break even, another break even. Then I had a +4 right there, and then a +16 right there. So that got us up to 40. And then we had a -10 right there, stopped out. That got us down to 30. Then from 30 up to 38, and 38 up to 46, and 46 to 50. And if we had another one in there, I didn't write it down. Okay, we did. And that is where we wrapped it up. Oh, we did have one right here, break even. Okay. That down, it's right down in the other gains anyway. All right. So nothing there because it didn't come out of the oversold. It came out of the oversold over here. That was still off the mid band, so that could have been a trade there. That was during the break. Just looking to see if we had anything else during the break right here. That was okay right there. That was okay right there. That was okay right there. And that was it. That was it for the S. So the S was our big gainer today. Now the NQ, we got our butt kicked on the NQ at the beginning. We had one good trade to get back, but we were getting it handed to us at the beginning. No, go back like this. I'm not used to doing it this way. Yeah, see that and that. Yep. Okay, it works on this computer too. It just doesn't keep up as fast because I'm working on my hotspot. Now the actual download speed on the hotspot was about the same as the hotel was, but the speed is only part of it, and the bandwidth of it all is different. All right, so on the NQ, our very first trade on the NQ, and sorry, I went on to the beginning. We missed the first half an hour. Our first trade on the NQ was a stop out. We had minus 36 there. Then picked up 10 ticks to get to minus 26. Then 3 ticks to get to minus 23. And then we stopped out again. Oh, we had another 10 that got us to minus 13. And then we stopped out again. And that got us to minus 49. And then we stopped out again. And that got us to minus 87. Okay, and then we had a 10 tick that got us to minus 77, and then we had a 50 tick right there. That was a big one. That got us to, actually it was a 57 tick. That got us to minus 20. That was positive slippage on that. It got us to minus 20. And then we had a 9 tick that got us to minus 11. And then moving down here from minus 11 to minus 1, to plus 9. So we finally got positive at 1107. Went to plus 9. And then Okay, I'm not sure. Guys, I am okay. My connection has been reestablished. Okay, so it says I have audio again. It says I have audio again. All right. So that was kind of on me. The battery on my phone died right in the middle of all that. And I was just about to tell you about the short here on the NQ that was back here. Actually, it was coming together back here, I think, is what I was about to tell you about. And then I noticed that my DOMs weren't moving at all. And then I noticed that my audio was lost in here too. So yes, it was an Apple iPhone. It is an Apple iPhone. Hotspot part. Okay, and now my DOMs are moving again, so I can trade again. Okay, so I'm just gonna start trading again. Okay. My phone is plugged in now, so it will not die again. And yeah, so we'll get into this if we can. That's kind of a long trade there on the ES right here. Okay, right there, kind of a long trade. The NQs, I was looking for the short trade on the NQ a few minutes ago, right back here, and I went to get it and my phone died. So I didn't have any connections. So let's just see. The DOMs are functioning again. Okay, let's flip the white down or up. So we're looking for shorts on the ES now. And there was actually a long trade right here, right before it flipped it, that I'm actually in. And that just went to break even. Go to +1 tick on that. +2 ticks on that. Now watch for the short rate in here. Okay. Need a down close on the NQ right there for a short. And hopefully that's going to happen here. And there it is. Okay. And my stop's at +10. And okay. Ding, 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 ding. That just gave me all of it right there. All right, so we got 2 on the ES. Wow, that's good. And write that down. I'll show you in a second. Okay. 2 on the ES. And let's go see what we actually did get on the NQ. Okay. Okay, I didn't actually get 2 on the ES. I got 1 on the ES. Here, I'll show you those couple of trades right here. Okay, so this one was the 1 on the ES, and this is what I got on the NQ. So it was 12 3/4 points. So 48, 49, 50, 51 ticks on the NQ. All right, so I got 1 tick on the ES and 51 on the NQ. 2 trades. The NQ is just about got another one right here. The ES almost has another one too. The Russell's almost got a long trade. The ES almost has a short. The NQ needs a down close to have the short in here. ES needs a down close. The NQ needs a down close. And the Russell needs an up close. The Russell's going in the opposite direction of all the others. Well, YM, I guess, is still in the green background too. What time is it? 1:25. Okay, we could still have a trade here on the NQ. That's way down there. Okay. So we got triggered on the NQ and the ES. Here's the NQ one right now. I don't think the stop's going to break even yet. And The ES one hasn't gone to break even yet either. Here's the ES one. Okay, the NQ just went to plus 10. And that got me out. And the ES, well, the ES hasn't done anything yet. Just see something with that. Anyway, here's the ES, and it hasn't gone to break even yet, but the NQ gave me a plus 10. I got this strange message a minute ago.
How strange was it?
It was really strange. You missed it, Dwayne.
What I missed, buddy?
The battery on my phone died, so I lost my connection.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I got it back. I figured you stepped away. I mean, you usually have that half an hour of freedom when I'm here doing this, and you can count on me for that half an hour. Sadly, today okay. We stopped out on the ES. Okay, so right now, altogether, we have 4 trades. I'm gonna put it in the thing before I forget. Let's just put it in the thing. Go down to the bottom here. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the battery on my phone because I was more focused on just having anything. And today is our 95th day. Today is 5/18. And on the NQ now, we have 61 ticks. On the Russell, we have nothing. On the YM, we have nothing. On the gold, we have nothing. And on the ES, we have minus 9. Now, oops, not minus 9,000. Minus 9. I'm supposed to move over with that one. Okay, so let's put the totals. Copy. Paste. Copy. Paste. And 4 trades with 1 stop out. And what time is it right now? 4 trades with 1 stop out. So 75% of our trades are break even or better. And with the we'll give it 15 minutes. Okay. I think that's pretty close. And this will be a 95. Okay. And that's it. Yes, that's correct. All right, so we're up $1,925 right now. 61 ticks on the NQ, minus 9 on the ES. We had a plus 1 and a minus 10 on the ES. We had a plus 51 and a plus 10 on the NQ. That's where we are right now. All right, so let's get back in here. Now, which one did I stop out on? Where did I stop out? Why did I stop out? Oh, it wasn't on the NQ, it was on the ES. It was this right here that I stopped out on the ES. Okay. All right, so looking over here, it looks like the Russell did give a long trade in there, but I didn't get on it. And the YM did not, and the ES did not give a trade, and it's got a green background now. Didn't go all the way down into the oversold, so we don't have a trade here. I think we're going to end up wrapping it up this way, guys. 4 trades, 1 stop out, 1 really nice NQ trade. We got the full thing on 1 NQ trade. And I think that's probably where we're going to end up wrapping it up for the session. Give it another 30 seconds here. And then we'll be okay. But yes, for those of you guys who asked, it is my iPhone hotspot that I'm working off of.
And there flips the NQ.
Yep, the NQ is all green. So now everything's green. Everything is green. And looking long. I want to go look here for a minute. Just look out here really quick.
Yeah, I'm in no rush. Take your time.
Okay. The TQQ had a little gap up and then it moved down. XRP is getting hit pretty bad right now. It looked like it was only down 2 cents at the beginning, but 2 cents is a little bit. But the ES, we're right at the open right now. So the day is kind of the whole day. All right. That's it. I just wanted to check it out and see what the whole day was looking like. All right. So that's it, guys. Let me go back here. We're going to wrap this session up with $1,925 in profit with 10 contracts, or $192.50 with one contract. 75% of our trades in this session will break even or better. In all of these sessions, we're now at our 95th one of these that we've kept track of. We're averaging about 15 minutes of trading, 14 minutes of trading, and we're averaging $117 per contract in those 14 minutes of trading, which is the goal for the day. So if you missed the morning session, you can usually come in here and get it in this session. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. When you click on that, it'll bring you to the registration page. This one. Just fill out the page. Okay. Once you fill out this page, we'll give you all the indication you need to get into the room in the morning and trade with us. All right.
Be sure to include your trading view ID if you have one.
Yes, make sure you add that. If you don't give us that, then we won't be able to enable the indicators for you. We'll still get you in the room, but you won't have any indicators on your charts. All right. Right, and with that, I'll pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, and Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. The rain is ready. Excellent.
All right, recap of the morning session.
All right, today it took 5 minutes and one trade to get to $1,100 this morning with 10 contracts on.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, I covered everything in granular fashion as I do each and every day. So if you missed any part of today's broadcast, give it 10 minutes after I sign off, and you should be able to go to youtube.com/CFRN and watch all of today's broadcast in its entirety. Or you can simply fast forward to the part where Michael comes on and does the recap of the live room, and then you can watch the trading that he did today in this session. Currently, on our YouTube channel, there's over 3,000 daily broadcasts archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're relatively new to our world, it is a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, a lot more. And obviously, you're not going to watch them all, but it is a great resource to have at your fingertips if you are new, because it does allow you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. So let's wrap it up with a good word for today. Are you washing your nets? Luke 5:2. He noticed 2 empty boats standing at the water's edge while the fishermen washed their nets. Why would fishermen wash nets that hadn't been used? The answer is they were quitting because of an overnight problem. We have fished all night and caught nothing. That's verse 5. Their expectations had been destroyed. They believed that the way things were the way they'd be. They were beaten. And that's when Jesus showed up. He came to where they were. He walked right into the middle of their disappointment with a solution. First, he asked them for their boat and used it to preach to the crowd and heal the multitudes. Child of God, turn everything over to him. All you have, all you are, and all you'll ever be. And let him use you for his highest purposes. Next, he gave them a word that only faith could receive. Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch. Luke 5:4. Can you see now why he has to wait until you've done everything you know how to do? Only then are you ready to listen. Even though his word doesn't seem to make sense, You're ready to obey without question. Are you discouraged today? Is it your ministry, your marriage, your job, or your health? You may be washing your nets, but it's not over. Who told you God wasn't going to bless you again? Who told you He wasn't going to bring victory out of your ashes? It's not over until He says it's over. If He can fill empty nets for those discouraged disciples, then you don't have a problem that He can't take care of. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.